On this episode, we leave the US for France and discuss how a simple nose surgery left someone an hour and a half away from their death. My guest is Mike, whose surgery led him to have a brain hemorrhage, placing him in an 8-week coma and ultimately leaving him hemiplegic. How did this happen? It was an accident of epic proportions, but Mike holds no animosity. And though he's lost part of his life, it's only now that he truly feels like he's living. This journey inspired him to become a coach, focusing on people like him through his group Empowering Disability. We also talked about the many places that he lived, including a boarding school that was in the same town as his childhood home. Let's jump in. Mike,
Hello, sir. How are you?
good. How are you doing, sir?
Very well, very well. Yes, thank you. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. What's it like in the UK today? What's it like up there today?
I don't know. I'm actually in France at the moment.
You're in France? What are you doing in
France. Yeah,
France?
yeah. That's where I live. I live in Paris.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm an Englishman who crossed the channel and I came for love and ended up staying here.
Is there a lot of love in France?
A lot of love, yeah. So like very passionate, very passionate country. Yeah, no, they call it the city of love, and it's like you're in LA, right? Yeah.
I'm actually in Austin, Texas, so neither
Okay.
one of us know where we're at. I mean, we have no idea.
Yeah, yeah, and but it's no, it's very good. It's different to living in London and living in England, in the UK. But as you probably, I will find out. I've lived all over the world, so it's not a problem for me.
And you're originally from the UK. In what
England,
part of the
yeah.
UK?
England, a place called Canterbury, which is the south of London, and it is an hour and a half now, hour and a half from London, from central London. It's closer to Paris. It's closer to the French border than it is to London.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
you were kind of familiar with France already then, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, like I have a language, a penchant for languages, and I quickly realized that all the beautiful women were in France, not England. So, so you end up going there, So
Yeah, sure. It's kind of like when I was growing up, I grew up in a really small town,
right,
and we were done with all the girls there. We had to go to another town to date girls, you know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
so okay, so what time period did you grow up in the UK? Like what years did you spend in your childhood?
from I was born in England. Yeah. Funny enough, my dad's Australian. I think I was made in Australia, and he then died unfortunately before I was born. And then my mother came back to England to be with her family, her parents, and gave birth to me and my twin brother. So I've been there, stayed there for until I was 18, 19, 20, 21, 21, 20, no, more than that, 23, 24.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then I uh, decided it was time to move abroad, and I went for a job, and they said that you can be anywhere in the world, okay, but you have to tell us what you wouldn't work for. I said, well, I don't want to work for a drug company. I don't want to work for firearms. I don't want to work for tobacco. I don't want, all the normal stuff. What if it was one of those three? Okay, really? Okay. And I hadn't really thought about the question at all, and well, well, which one is it? He said, well, we're tobacco. I said, tobacco. what country is it? Well, Chile. And I had no idea where Chile was, right? And so, so I go, okay. I think, okay, weigh it up quickly. Right? That took 4 seconds. And okay, let's go for it. Yeah. And so I ended up going to Chile. And that's the time that I started my time abroad.
And then from Chile, where did you go?
Then we got posted to Hungary, uh, because if you do a good job in Chile, or do a good job in that company, you are then promoted or you're piloted into another war zone, right? And told to fix it. And I learned Spanish to be or Chileno in the 1 month before I actually started the job. So I had 4 weeks to learn the language, and that went well. But in Hungary, it was an emergency, and I was piloted in straight away and said, right, you start work the next day. I go, right, and where learning language? Don't worry, everyone speaks English, you know. So and they all speak English until the moment where they disagree with you, and then they just speak in Hungarian amongst themselves. You've got absolutely no idea what they are talking about, you know.
Right.
So
That's so
but
funny. So, if you don't mind, I want to go back. So,
okay,
you're conceived by your father that passed away, right? And so you're
yeah,
conceived, and then he passes away, and then you're born. Is that the way that goes?
correct. Yeah.
And so, what was it like growing up with like out a dad, or did you have a dad?
Yeah, I had a stepdad, and what was that like? That was difficult. I think we were all trying to find our own places, even himself, in the world. And there's a lot of he was a school teacher, and there was a lot of kind of pressure, actually, a lot of pressure. Yeah. Um, and that didn't last that long. I think it lasted like 3 or 4 years, something like that. And then my mother married again, and she's still married to that person now. Nigel is a really, really nice guy. Um, and he was kind of like the father figure for us, you know, but that was from the age of like 13 or 12, 13. So all that previous time we'd just sort of grown up as a family unit and with our cousins living just around the corner. And it's very, yeah, very, I think that's what made us much more gregarious, more outwardly centered, outwardly focused, and go-getters.
What do you mean? Like, say more.
What's a go-getter? So it's like, well, I can't talk for the others, but I can talk to myself that I'm very much somebody who is a doer, a go-getter, somebody who is um, always looks for the opportunity. Um, and I was at school and I was selling my toys at 7 years old, yeah, because it was fun. It wasn't for money. It was because it was fun, right? It's like, oh, we call them Tonka toys, which are big, big, fat, chunky toys, yeah. And actually was selling them. Uh, and it was selling some as a massive business. I had five, five toys. But people, I think people were buying them for something in the equivalent of less than $1, and these things are like worth like $10 or something. I
Right.
had no concept of money at that age. But it was just the notion of bartering and having the exchange and knowing that you actually, I never thought about this, that you give something and then you get something in return. And what I get in return was the satisfaction of that person being happy. Um, I never actually looked at it like that before.
Well, there's something magical about friendly bartering. You know what I mean? Of
Mm,
like, you know, I thought about this a long time ago. When we bartered, right? Like when we were like, I have a chicken and you have bread and we need to trade, you know, we bartered, right? We only bartered for needs because that's all we only had so many chickens. So what we have to
Right.
get has to be equal value to us, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But once
Yeah.
you put money in the mix, now you can get wants because it's unlimited kind of. It's how much you earn, it's not what you need. And so there's something very magical about I like bartering, like sometimes services or just, you know, just like, hey, like we do these pictures for me. Let me take you to dinner. And then now like we got to do these pictures, my photographer, we get to do pictures together and I get to have dinner with him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's
Yeah.
something magical about that, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think the magic happened for me afterwards because I enjoyed the thrill of bartering. I'm not sure it was magical, but it was amazingly. I would barter everything and anything. I just want. It just became a. No, I just happened to have something that resonated with people, and they wanted to have what I was offering, and whether it was a toy or whether it was we called it tuck, which is sweets in those days. My twin brother and I worked we managed the school sweet shop, you know, and there was a lot. We're always, I think we're entrepreneurs. We're just always looking for ways to actually um, make things slightly different, not toe the line. So it's like the salmon swimming upstream rather than ever all the other fish swim downstream. We're always going against the flow, and that's the fun of the game. That's the thrill. That's the excitement, you know. And sometimes we would pull it off, sometimes we wouldn't. So uh, you live and learn, but each time you don't actually conceive of it as a failure. It's just a lesson learned for next time. Yeah.
You know, we originally got in this conversation because we were talking about, you know, how you grew up, your network that you grew up in, you know, of
Mm.
like, you know, having this stepfather and then not a father and this other guy stepping in and not having your original father and how
Right.
unique that was. Um, do you do you ever wonder what it would have been like if like your dad
Of
would have
course I
been
do. Of
alive?
course I do. Of course I do. Even more so now as I'm older, much older. Um, and I talked to my mother. I think I talked to her about it just a few weeks ago, maybe just a month ago. Um, and I asked her, you know, what was he like? And she said, "Well, you are the spitting image of him." I mean, like it's crazy. And then I said, like, let me get. I did. I'm into languages. He was a linguistics teacher. He taught Latin and Greek, believe it or not. And I excelled in Latin and Greek at school until we got changed schools, and then they didn't do Latin and Greek in the new school. So I had to learn another subject, but that's okay. But it's yeah, and I think that the person I've kind of morphed into, I won't say that I was like him uh, at the out in the teens and twenties because I was a bit of a reprobate. But now I'm much more. I'm calmer, um, but I'm calmer, but it's calmer with a small c. I'm still like a manic kind of guy, and I push the limits all the time. But that's me. That's fun. It's like, but do I ever wonder how it would have been? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I think stability would have played a very big role, and therefore, but I'm a great believer now that the path that I have led has led me to be talking to you, and everything that I have been involved in, ups and downs, lefts and right, has made me the person I am today. And I'm okay with that. I really am okay with that. But yes, I do wonder what it would have been like. But I know
Did
that
you? Oh, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, but I don't think that really serves me very much today, apart from just being. I'm trying to, rather than wish how could it have been different, how can myself and my children emulate their fathers and their father's father, yeah, or their parents, to a certain state? What are the elements that they can actually have in their lives that can actually continue the legacy of the parent and the parent's parent?
Did you ask and like actively seek out what your father was like, or did you just turn out this way?
No, I just excuse me, it just turned out this way. I think to myself that I always wonder why I'm not as curious as I think I might be or should be or could be. Yeah. Um, and and it's funny because the role that I'm in now is all about asking people questions and finding out, being curious about them. So I think I've picked up curiosity in a late stage kind of thing, part of my life. But when I was in my formative years, kind of thing, when I was growing up, I had a very happy childhood. I don't have any problem, any difficulty in remembering the good times, but I can't remember a single bad time. And I don't know whether that's because I'm blanking it out, or whether it's there just weren't any, or that I'm not going down deep enough, and hence the curiosity, not going down deep enough in my kind of like thinking and my memory, to understand really the whys and wherefores of it all. That makes sense.
Tell me a little bit about your teenage years. Tell me, because when you kind of noted it, you're kind of like, ooh, this little area. And so just tell me a little bit about it. I'm curious.
Okay, so we were sent away. Sounds very. We were enrolled in what in England is called a public school. There's a boarding school, so it's a school where we live in the school. Yeah, and that school happened to be in Canterbury, where we all lived. So the question I asked myself was, why am I being sent away from from where I live to a school that's in the same town as where I am, and it was because my mother was going through difficulties, the divorce from the father, and what the elements of that, and it was better to put, we were one of five siblings, so it's better just to put the two youngest, put them into boarding school, and leave them with it, let them do it. So, and that was really, I had a great time. It wasn't a problem at all until we ran out of funds, because boarding school costs money, lots and lots of money. And then the headmaster goes to my mother, well, why don't you just get your grandfather to sell another piece of land? And so the next day we were out of the school, because that's just ridiculous to have said that. And we were enrolled in this new school, this day school, normal school. And I remember turning up there, and I had bare feet, right? Right? I had no concept of like what I think normality was, because we were in a boarding school and we had to wear a set uniform. Yeah, we had to wear a uniform because of the shoes, the socks, the trousers, the shirt. Even we had a wing collar. It goes like this, and had ties. And we go to this new school, and you know anything goes. Um, and so okay, we turned up with a I think it was flip-flops actually. It wasn't bare feet, but it wasn't. I didn't have socks, um, and that's what I remember. That very odd that I remember that, but that was a liberating experience. That was like the freedom of actually getting away from a closed environment that where we were actually controlled, but we had no concept of what it was like to be controlled. And that was just our only existence that we could actually understand. And so when we got to the new school, I think I was caught smoking on the second day, right? You know, and but I wasn't even smoking. The guys were in the bush, right? And um, they came out. The teacher came out and said, "Who's in there smoking? I can smell it." And they just gave me the cigarettes, right? And I just stood there. Well, what's going on? You know, naive Mike kind of thing, you know. And but that was where it really changed. That's really changed.
Um, so tell me about 2019.
2019, right. So I was on a tr- I was a bit of just a bit of background. After 30 years, I mean in marketing for 30 years, and I had just found my dream job, okay, in Boston. And I had also just become divorced, and after 20 wonderful years, good years, wonderful two wonderful children, um, and we all get on really well. We just we diverted, it got and went on different paths, kind of thing. And I'd got found this wonderful job in Boston, and I came back for a routine operation. In my nose because I was playing Krav Maga. I don't know if you know Krav Maga. It's a martial art. Yeah. And I got you're not meant to hit the people, right? And you're meant to do simulations. You go like that, and then that, and the guy goes like that, and I go that, and his other fist is there, and I go bang, bangs my nose, right? Completely bends my nose out, and then the next week he comes again and does the same thing, and I know this one. I'll just stay still, right? And he just carries on through, right? And so my nose is like completely like wonky, and so I went into the hospital to have an operation to get some cartilage, and they took three operations. They took some cartilage from the chest, and it's just in this bit just here and this bit here. Yeah. And the first bit was not strong enough. Then it took it from my ear. It wasn't, it was too bendy, right? And said, you know what, we're going to take it from your head. Okay. I'm going like, you sure about this? Yeah. I said, it's absolutely totally normal procedure, you know. And you trust doctors, you really do. So, and she was a number two neurosurgeon in France. Yeah. And so went under, and I remember counting the clock back from 10 down to 7 or something, and then I out for the count with the anesthetic. And they do the operation, and I don't remember anything, right? But what I do know is that my ex-wife um, told me the whole story, and I taped it, right? And that tape is what I'm recounting now because I don't remember anything. So basically, uh, the woman, the neurosurgeon, gave the work to the stagiaire, which is the trainee doctor, which is totally normal, totally the right thing to do under her supervision. And he drilled too far in my head to get the cartilage. The cartilage is in between the skull and the brain. If you know more about it than I do, I'm kind of squeamish on these kind of things, so I don't like to go too much into detail. But then he drilled too far, but I was under the anesthetic. No one knew. He pulled it out. You know, they found the cartilage and sewed me up and put me into what's called the waking up room. But I didn't wake up because I was actually hemorrhaging blood, right, unbeknownst to everybody, right? And in this wake-up room, where I wasn't waking up, the night duty doctor said it's really odd that Mr. Kent is not waking up. He should have been he should have woken up by now. Let's actually just have a quick look. They put me into a false coma and did some checking in the back of the head, and I've still got lumps to prove it. And they go, "Oh my God, he's hemorrhaging blood." Yeah, and they'd worked it out. I was 1.5 hours from passing over to the other side. Yeah, and if if that guy had not been able to have the foresight to put me into the coma and just to do a digging around, I wouldn't be here talking to you. So I thank him very much. And they tried to drain as much as they could, and big operation. And then with a coma, you don't actually wake the other person. You don't wake that person up. That person has to wake up by themselves. He said, no, he'll wake up in maybe in a couple of hours, maybe in a few days. 8 weeks later, I woke up 8 weeks later. Yeah. And I don't remember a thing, you know. I talked to my twin brother, talked to my family, my siblings and stuff, and they were like standing over me and watching, holding my hand, singing me songs, playing my new favorite music, doing everything they could just to stimulate me, even reading Winnie the Pooh books and things like that. And yet, you know, I don't remember anything at all. But what I do know is that when I woke up, I felt it was a feeling of love and a feeling of togetherness. And I cannot explain that. I cannot explain what that was due to specifically. All I can assume or think is that it was due to the love being surrounding me from my family and my friends. And so after 8 weeks, I woke up, and the first thing you do, it's kind of funny, is you go, "Oh, where am I? Why are all these people looking at me? I don't understand why all these people are looking at me. What, John, but you live in Bali. What are you doing here? You know, like, you're in Australia, and you're in California, like, because my twin brother lived in California. What are you doing there? Yeah, he lives actually in LA, actually, where you live. And I know you live in Austin, don't you? So he lives in LA. And then I suddenly go like, you know what? I want to get out. I don't want to be stuck in this bed. So I rolled on my side, and I couldn't roll. I couldn't understand it. So I gave it a massive tug like that, and I rolled over and rolled out of the bed and fell onto the floor. So I go, holy shit! Sorry, holy moly, whatever. And I go like, I can't move. I can't get up. You know, and that the realization is that I'm actually like it's called hemiplegic. It means you've had the stroke and you've got no movement in your right side, and you have to be helped to be lifted up and everything. And that was the beginning of the end for me, because as a can-do person, as somebody who really believes that, you know, the glass is half full, if not 3/4 full, yeah, my whole world just collapsed. You know, I don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember about having the new job and having the everything is just about coming into place. And even though I got the divorce, we're super good friends, and the kids are really lovely kids. And I don't remember any of that. The only thing I can remember, just as I speak to you now, is the pain of falling and the knowledge of knowing that I can't lift myself up. I can't even pull myself up, because I haven't learned how to pull myself up. I'm going, what? Why can't I do that? What? And there's like massive crying everywhere. And eventually I was lifted up and lifted onto the bed. And at that point I realized that, you know, you start asking questions. Why do you have tubes in your mouth? Why do you have why is everyone looking so sad? You know, why are they not happy? You know, why can't they just be joyful? And the realization comes in, hits you so hard, that something really is seriously wrong. And that's when they told me that I was hemiplegic. I had the stroke, and and I had no recollection of the operation, nothing at all. It's only now that I can say that, but it was due to the trainee, and he drilled too far kind of thing. But at that particular moment, I didn't know anything. I was just in total denial of my situation, and I was it was traumatizing. Really, really was. It was horrific.
Is that is that the first time that, you couldn't do what you wanted to do? Like, does that make sense? Like,
It's
up to
completely,
that point, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, completely, absolutely. But I hadn't. I'd always been. How old was I? It must have been like 30 something. Yeah. It was 5 years ago. No, so it was. So it was be 45. No, 50, 50. Yeah. So 5 years ago. So up until then, I was a sporty guy. I was a healthy guy. I was, had jobs around the world. And things were going okay. Things were, it wasn't, plain sailing at all. Always ups and downs, as I say. But it was, it was okay. And having just found my dream job in Boston, I thought, you know what, things are on the up and up. So that in itself made the whole experience really kind of demoralizing. Well, demoralizing, that's a very nice word. It's like it was shit, it was crap, and it really, really was disaster. And the hospital at that point had admitted fault. There was a 2-year waiting list for the top rehab place, and they've managed to find me a place in a week, which is very generous of them. And that's where that's where the rebuilding started. I mean, to rebuild, you have to go down and touch the bottom, right? And no, I come back a step. The day before, I know the day before I woke up, the doctor had said, you know what, we need the bed, right? Mr. Kent's been there for over 8 weeks, or nearly 8 weeks. I'm around about 8 weeks, and we need the bed. So can he please just you might have to take him off the life support and just hope that he recovers. And my ex-wife just goes, under no circumstances will you do that. Mike is a fighter. Mike will beat this. Mike will make everything work. And trust me, he will come out of this, and he will come out of this a better person. The next day I woke up.
Dang.
The next day I woke up. I mean, even now it still fills me with shivers when I say that. So I went into the rehab place. That was, I think, 6, 7 weeks after the initial wake up, and they it was just, as I said, there were downs. You go down a little bit. I was in a room, and again, I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go to the loo. I couldn't. Everything had to be done for me or with me. And it's debilitating. It's like your whole. I'm a twin, and I'm the older twin. And 20 minutes makes a hell of a difference. And it's like we have always been rivals. Not, I wouldn't say we competitors. We've always been rivals. So we've really just egged each other on in our own way. And so to actually not be able to do something is just alien to me. At least to try it. And so that was very, very hard. But I'm a kind of I don't understand. I have this ability to be, I was gonna say, I can't find another word than happy, but I see the glass as half full. I think I said that earlier. And so I'm a positive guy. I'm someone who always tries to see the good in people and the good in things. And so I looked at my situation and I go, okay, all right. I'm not going to wallow in this quagmire of rubbish or crap or whatever, and I just want to actually just get on. Now, how am I going to get on? Right, the head physio is going to be my best friend, and we ended up. My memory was completely not altogether there for that. That's the very, very short term memory. So we ended up playing games. So I would come in at like 5 to 9 rather than 9 o'clock, 5 to 9, and we would say, okay, the 5 words I gave her in English, right, like combine harvester and waterfall, really difficult words for French people to say, and she gives me French words to remember, like flower or car, road, really, really simple, but it was all about testing and getting my memory working. And we used to play these games every single day, just to go. And we developed a really, really good relationship with Sophie, and it became a real wonderful opportunity to not just do the physio and not just to think about the recovery process, but actually to embrace life as it actually is or was in those days, and to actually to have someone who was there and with me, who just saw me for me, not for how I looked like or what I was, and that was wonderful. That was like, and then that then allowed me to become much more aware of my surroundings. And I think that, if I fast forward, I'm a coach, and I'm coaching somebody who is or hopefully going to be coaching someone who's in a stroke at the moment. She's just coming out of it, a second stroke, and her family are saying to me that, Mike, you have something that's different. Your ability to have lived through this, yeah, and then to actually then be able to recount it, but not recount it in a condescending or a vitriol, a malicious kind of way. You just say it as it is, and there's no emotion there, because I've passed that stage. There's no need for me to actually go back, and I don't even say go back anymore. I don't want to go back to where I was. I bounce forward. I think I steal that line from I can't remember her name, but she's a disabled athlete. But now bouncing forward is all about what I'm about. So, and I'm a bit of a joker, So I will, I like to have a laugh. I smile, and I remember one time we were in the makes me laugh. We were in the canteen, or in the place where we have lunch, and we all have like 7 or 8 people in a round table, and the guy coming in, right, in his wheelchair was going right, and he comes and sits not in my table, in the next table, right, and he spins his chair around, so I'm seeing the back of his chair, and on the back of his chair is his foot, right, with a shoe sticking out of his rucksack, right. It's a prosthetic leg, right, and it's sticking out of his thing, right. And I go like, I can't remember the guy's name now. Let's call him Chris. And I say, Chris, why is your leg hanging out like that? And he turns around and he goes, what, this one? And he comes in. And the whole thing is so comical, right? But he doesn't actually see it like that, He's, oh, my leg, it's my leg, and he looks down, oh yeah, I forgot my leg. Yeah, thank you. And he puts his leg on. And it's like, but you are in amongst similar people, right? And it's a safe environment where you are almost in cotton wool, protected from the outside. But unbeknownst to everyone outside, we were having fun, so-called, on the inside, and just becoming more centered, more able to, I suppose, learn how to reappreciate our lives. Yeah, because there were people who were, 1 minute, or the people who had physical disabilities, and other people who had mental disabilities. and I was in the middle. So it's.
You had bipartisan disabilities.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't even say that I have a disability anymore because I'm a. I believe that I think the society has given us the label of being disabled, and that's not correct. That's not right. That's not right at all.
You don't identify as disabled.
No, not at all. I find it
Yeah.
it took me such a long time to accept that I was, and even now I say that I'm differently abled, but I find it I find it very difficult to say that word, you know. But no, it's the stairs that are disabling, yeah, because the stairs are not made with the handrail on the left-hand side. They're made with the handrail on the right-hand side, or the lifts are not wide enough to fit a wheelchair. Yeah, so it's society that has made our environment disabling for us.
Yes.
But I don't believe that people are disabled because, I live in France, as I say, and I saw the Olympics here, and the Paralympics were absolutely phenomenal. There was a guy who, as a Brazilian guy, no arms and stumps for his legs, right? Won the gold medal, right, in his category against somebody who came silver medalist who had two arms and two legs. I'm like, it's like unbelievable stories, the high jump guy that sort of like, he's on two crutches like that, with one leg, right? He lets one crutch go, hopping like that, then lets the other crutch go, and then hop, doom, 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 and jumps over, gets a gold medal. It's like it reframes your whole perception of how people consider or think about disability, and that's why I'm kind of up in arms about it now, because what those guys have achieved in their lifetime, some of us will never ever achieve in the whole of our lifetime. Yeah, and so I really believe that everyone has got unique abilities. And that makes them differently abled. That's why I say that. But I digress.
Okay, so did these events, is that what led you to be a coach, or were you already on this path?
Good question. What led me to be a coach? So no, I was in the hospital, in the rehab place, and I tried to end my life, but it didn't work because I'm a marketeer and somebody who I want to know what it would be like. And to know what it would be like, I'd have to be living to know what it would be like. So it can't actually work like that. And so I never actually went through with it. And at that point, then my brother gave me a book, which is called The Awakening. And it was all from Jeff Thomas, and about just learning about the present moment. And that moment, I had an epiphany which says, you know what? Forget the past. I have no control over the future. I'm going to live in the present moment. I do everything I can to enjoy everything that is around me. And now you say, how did I become a coach? I think it led up to that. The marketing, I was involved in marketing of products and of services and things. But now I'm now marketing people. I'm now marketing myself to be a coach to help other people. And I think it's still the same. It's still the same kind of logic, because well, it's not actually, to be honest, because I'm not selling or marketing hundreds of thousands of units. I'm marketing just one unit. That's that one person in front of me is a single unique person, and I'm going over to their side and looking to help them. And that's what's really exciting, because in true marketing, or in consulting, you just take the brief, you make the big binder, right? Give them the solution. It gets put into the third drawer of the desk and never gets opened again, and you walk away, with your money, kind of thing. And so with coaching, it's all about just asking questions. And that, I go back to your point, your question about being curious at the very beginning, which was because, my God, me asking questions. I mean, I've actually got to actually think about these things and think about what I'm actually doing. I can't just like tell people how it actually is. And that was when you've got time in the rehab place to yourself. You read and read. I did lots of internet stuff, and I think the first coaching idea was, I can't remember the name of the company, but it was somebody else. It was an LA company, and coaching. Oh, what's that all about? You know. And at that point, I was into meditation, and I'd started to hear about this guy called Jay Shetty, who happened to be on the Calm app, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. And the first person who was a coach, I was about to sign up to them, and that she got divorced and went to live on the East Coast next to on your side. And I thought, hang on, coaches aren't meant to get divorced. They would be like, having that, doing it right. So I thought, okay, maybe that one is not the right one. And so I ended up going to Jay Shetty. And I think that the real pivotal moment was my brother giving me the book by Jeff Thomas, The Awakening, and learning about the present moment and all about the ability of just being in the now. And when you are somebody who can see the glass as half full, if not three-quarter full, being in the now is absolutely fantastic. I walk slower, but I get to see so much more because I'm not rushing anymore. I can stop and appreciate nature. I can stop and appreciate the sky or the birds or the where I am, and that's magical. Yeah, that's very, very motivational for me. Yeah, and I think because of I keep saying I've got a memory problem, but I don't. People always say, Mike, you haven't got a memory problem. You just shut up. But I have difficulty remembering things like if I was to say what was the question you asked, I wouldn't be able to say what that. My immediate memory has gone. Yeah, but things are coming back. They said I wouldn't make any progress for after 6 months. It's just 5 years on, and I'm still making progress. I think it's all up here. It's all up. It's what you believe you can do in yourself, in your body, and just have the belief that you can do it. It will take a long time, sure, that's okay. But I plan to be sticking around for a long time.
You got
So
nothing but time, huh?
nothing but time, nothing but time. Exactly right,
Yeah.
exactly right.
I think your need for short-term memory is way less if you're present. You know what I mean? You don't really need to remember things if you're there. You
You're
know what I
right.
mean?
You're
And
right.
so,
Exactly.
so
Very true.
maybe in a weird way, it's a bless. Maybe it's just like it's a little tweak on your brain that made you present, and now we're here. You know what I mean? It's a great
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so really quickly, tell people just so they know where they can find your coaching and what kind of coaching you do. I want to make sure I get that in here.
Okay. I have set up a Facebook group called Empowering Disability. Um, and that is, I set it up 3 months ago, and we're already over 400 people, right? Which is incredible. It does my head in, but it's super wonderful. So from that, I then and it's called Empowering Disability. So I do many posts about disability and anything about, and it's not just disability. It's also things like isolation or trauma or any
Anything
kind.
that's disabling, right?
Thank you. Anything that's
Yeah.
disabled. And then from there, I have I do coaching on Empower Coaching, and that's the best way to find me. Otherwise, I'm on Instagram, but I just put out stuff on Instagram on the Mike AW Kent. But otherwise, everything is done through Empowering Disability.
And then what, like when people go there, what will they find and what kind of coaching do you do with your clients?
So, what will they find on the site? Videos. Okay. I believe that it's very important to do. I put out a video every day, um, because it's authenticity. Yeah. People will discover me and find me as I am, right? And take me as I am. And the subjects that I talk about are all about, as I said just before, and and I even ask my members, right, what do you want to hear? You know, and yesterday it wasn't trauma, it was OCD, right? And so I did a whole post on a whole video on OCD. Um, and it's illuminating for me as well. So it's educational for me as well. And I have skin in the game kind of thing, as we've always said in marketing, but I have a seat at the table, but I don't, it's not, I don't warrant it. I don't, it's just a mechanism to be able to communicate with like-minded people and share stories. You know, I have people in my group who are from different parts of Africa. There's one woman, she looks after 19 different disabled children, because in this state in Africa, if the father or the mother gives birth to a disabled child, the father buggers off, right?
Really?
Yeah, and so the mother then has to go out to work. She hasn't got the wherewithal to go out to work. She then has to go leave the children with the nanny, and this is all a voluntary kind of business, and it just tugs at my heart, these kind of things. And these people come into my group, right, and tell me their stories and share their stories, and then I'm able then to take that from one perspective and then help other people, right, from their perspective, because I've just got it's compassion. We have courage, we have compassion, and we have probably another C word, but I can't remember what it is, uh, but the courage to keep going, just keep
Hmm.
going, don't give up. My motto is Kent's never give up. Like I really dislike that nearly quite a few days in a year, but then God, just do it, just keep going, and
Yeah.
it's progress over perfection, all about progress, just one little bit. And I learned that from the doctors in the hospital.
This final segment is brought to you by heyjustbe.com. I believe that achieving balance in the mental, physical, and metaphysical aspects of your purpose through learning, serving, and creating can transform your life into one you truly enjoy living. Want to learn more? Visit www.heyjustbe.com.
So this is perfect. So usually how I wrap up my podcast is I usually ask people like, what do you do to just be the best version of yourself so you can be good for everybody else, right? But I'm going to put you on the spot and I'm going to
Oh
ask you to do
no.
something
Oh, no.
special for me. You're going to be fine. I think when people, essentially on some level, when you received your injury and all this stuff, your ego was shattered. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
everything that Mike was, Mike is now not anymore, right?
Right.
And so somehow you had to overcome that and now live with this different Mike that you are. So what I would like you to speak to, if you could, is just like the things you do to keep you motivated to be this best version of the new Mike.
Okay. The old Mike was selfish, egocentric, and thinking of himself, right? The new Mike is so open to helping other people, where I'm actually, it's in service to other people. Yeah, that is and it's so, I'm meeting people that the old Mike would never have met. I'd never have crossed these people in my life. I would even probably cross the road, yeah, to avoid them. Right? Now I'm not amongst them, and like it's so. not just joyful and but it's so humbling because we see each other for what we really are, which is not for our differently abled ability, for our disability, but for actually the person behind, behind the actual face. And like I help people and I talk about making them smile from the inside out, right? It's really important that that you can have this concept, and it's that new mic is so I love it. And no, I've since the accident, and funny, I call it an accident, which is a really odd turn of. I hadn't thought about this. It's an accident, so
But
it's not something that is deliberate. It's just it's something that happened, and therefore, if you have an accident, then you recover from it. And that funny, if I'm a recovery coach, and so I'm a vegetarian now. I don't drink anymore. Don't do anything illegal. And it has cleansed my whole body is just like, totally reborn. And I haven't been ill for 5 years. I mean, it's freaky, it's like, well, I'm okay with that, long may it continue, yeah, I think it's suiting me. It really is suiting me.
let
And I've
me
got a lot more energy and
let me ask you this. Do you feel like, okay, you had to feel like when before, like you were living life, you know what I mean? Like, you're doing marketing and you're traveling around and blah blah blah, whatever. But do you feel like you're living life in this new and better way? Like
oh yeah,
the feeling you get back from living is different, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that fact, in actual fact, what I thought was living was a lie.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it was just all about external focus. Yeah. It's all about, any kind of vice you could do or think about, it was there. And now it's all about just no, it's again, it's focusing on me, and it's not just about me, my kind of thing. It's just me and wanting to help other people and being there for them. And you know, I was coaching. I coach people in the street. I have no problem with doing that. Oh, well, and it's just natural. And I think this is the new Mike. This is the new person that's coming out, and it's so enriching because there's no need to actually ask for anything. It's like almost that people are coming to me rather than me having to look for clients and things like that.
Well,
Um,
you don't need anything really, right? Like it all what you need comes to you in this weird way because of who you are attracts it. Would that be fair?
Absolutely. And one of the first things I absolutely, and one of the first things I learned about was the law of attraction, and that I totally abide by that. And I thought it was BS at the beginning, but no, it's like just embrace it, and that's this is that's the old Mike trying to like, I have this image where I have a round table of different personalities. I'm not saying I've got multiple personalities, but let's just say, there's somebody who's a go-getter, there's someone who's a stubborn guy, there's a guy who loves chocolate, another one, and so all these people are sitting around the table, and they're all trying to argue with each other, and around the table is actually an image of myself, yeah, and so the thing goes is that if they are actually not towing the line, the image of me is disturbed, right? It's almost like a mosaic that is no longer a mosaic. And so it's actually I need to get harmony in all the people. And so what I then say is, okay, we're all going in the car. Okay, we all go in the car, right? And we're all driving, and they're all trying to grab hold of the steering wheel. Say, get off. No, rally driver guy is on my wingman. You guys You all are part of me. I'm not pulling you out of the car, but you're in the back seat. Okay, shut up. Right, we'll deal with you later. Right, you'll have your time to talk. Right, in like tomorrow, or whatever. Yeah, and that's how. And I have a wonderful visual imagination for that, and that really helps me when anyone, I get anxious, when I get depressed, whatever. I say, you know what? I reframe it. Get in the back. I'm driving the car. I'm in control. I'm the one who's driving. We're all in this world together. Let's just find a way.
I think sometimes getting present with yourself lets you see yourself from this bird's eye view, and you can see all the parts of yourself and acknowledge them and recognize them and have awareness around it. But just awareness that I am all these people, you know what I mean? And then when someone tries to get in control of it that's not supposed to, you're like, like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like, I got this. Like,
Yeah,
you're just here to do this one part. You're not here to do everything, sir, kind of thing, you know?
You're the first person who said that to me. Yeah. I've
Uh,
always thought, like, people must think I'm nuts, you know?
no, I mean, we are all not one person. We are all many types of people. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I'm a dad, I'm a son, I'm a best friend,
Yeah.
I'm a partner. Like, I mean, that's just the stuff I have to, the stuff that I've already signed up for. That's not the creative person in me and all that stuff, you know? So,
Yeah.
Mike, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you as well. It's been wonderful, Scotty. Thank you ever so much for the opportunity and for sharing it. I mean, it's something that I think your questions are very poignant, and I haven't cried, which is amazing. Probably the first time I haven't cried. So I'm very emotional.
Well,
Yeah.
now, like I have people cry, and now I'm wondering, like, well, how come I didn't get you to cry? Why? What did I not? What do we need to talk about that I can get you to cry? I'm just kidding.
No, I get it. Because it's been a happy conversation. You know,
Great,
it's been a very forward. Oh yeah, just
positive.
happy. Thank you. Positive conversation. Yeah.
Well,
Really.
thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it.
Thanking you, Scotty. All the best.